Colorado Department of Corrections with no possibility of parole. With regard to counts 4 and 5 relating to Bella and Celeste as a different theory of first-degree murder, the court is going to sentence you to life in the Colorado Department of Corrections, and legally those sentences must run concurrently as a different theory of first-degree murder. Recognizing the unlawful termination of pregnancy for the unborn child that has been named Nico, the court absolutely believes that the maximum sentence of 48 years would be appropriate to run consecutive to the other charges, with an additional mandatory.
Continually
Yep.
recording?
Yep. Well,
It's not, is it motion or is it? Okay, so it's motion.
Any motion event that happened, I gave.
In my examination of the chilling case involving the family murderer Chris Watts, I find myself at a crossroads where psychology, sociology, and philosophy intersect, providing a unique lens through which to view this tragedy. Each of these disciplines alone offers insights into human behavior, but it is their convergence in my analysis that allows for a more comprehensive understanding of this case. Psychology delves into the individual mindset of Watts. Sociology examines the societal influences and pressures he faced, and philosophy questions the moral and ethical dimensions of his actions. This multifaceted approach not only enables me to dissect the complexities of this case more deeply, but also positions me to present a perspective that goes beyond conventional narratives. In navigating through this dark chapter, my objective is not to empathize with the perpetrator, but to understand the depth of his depravity and the factors that led to such monstrous actions. Through this comprehensive analysis, I will demonstrate how the convergence of psychological, sociological, and philosophical factors provides a unique and deeper understanding of the Chris Watts case. By examining Watts' psychological profile, the sociological context of his actions, and the philosophical implications of his behavior, I aim to reveal how these intertwined aspects shed light on the complexities behind such a heinous crime. This perspective will not only offer a more nuanced view of the case, but also challenge us to consider broader questions about human nature and morality in the face of evil. This journey into the darkest corners of human nature confronts the stark reality of a crime that stands as a stark reminder of the evil that can lurk beneath the surface of ordinary life. Allow me to take you on a thought-provoking journey where we will seek to untangle the psychological, philosophical, and sociological threads woven into the fabric of the Chris Watts case. In setting the stage for our deeper exploration, it is essential to first paint a clear picture of the basic facts surrounding the Chris Watts case. This background will serve as the foundation upon which our multifaceted analysis is built. Chris Watts' story is one that unfolded in the quiet town of Frederick, Colorado. In August 2018, the nation was shocked when Watts, a seemingly average family man, was arrested for the disappearance and murder of his pregnant wife, Sha-Nan, and their 2 young daughters, Bella and Celeste. The case rapidly evolved from a missing persons investigation to a horrific tale of familial annihilation. Watts initially portrayed the image of a concerned husband and father, pleading for his family's safe return on national television. However, this facade crumbled when he confessed to their murders, revealing a much more sinister reality. Before this tragedy, Chris Watts appeared to be an ordinary individual with a seemingly normal life. Born and raised in North Carolina, his background and upbringing did not outwardly suggest the capacity for such a heinous act. Watts had no criminal history and was described by those who knew him as quiet and reserved. Understanding his early life, personality traits, and behavioral patterns is crucial in our analysis, as it raises questions about what factors could drive an ostensibly average person to commit such unthinkable crimes. The dynamics within the Watts family and Chris's relationships with his wife and children provide critical context for our discussion. Shanann Watts was an active social media user, often sharing aspects of their family life online. These portrayals painted a picture of a happy family, but behind the scenes, there were signs of financial strain, marital discord, and Chris's infidelity. These factors, when viewed through the lenses of psychology, sociology, and philosophy, give us deeper insights into the potential pressures and motivations that may have influenced Watts' actions. Carrie Danes, a forensic psychologist, offers an intriguing perspective on Chris Watts, asserting that he is not a psychopath. Instead, she describes him as an emotionally inadequate man, someone who bottles up stress and struggles with intense emotions. This perspective challenges the common perception of Watts as a distinctly aberrant individual, suggesting he might represent a more common, yet distressing, figure in society. Conversely, Candice DeLong, a former FBI criminal profiler and criminologist, categorizes Watts as a malignant narcissist and psychopath. Her assessment focuses on his apparent lack of remorse or empathy, and narcissistic traits such as delusions of outsmarting law enforcement and making early mistakes in the investigation. This characterization aligns with more traditional views of individuals who commit such heinous acts. In considering the tragic case of Chris Watts, a multifaceted analysis suggests a deeply complex psychological profile. From a psychological standpoint, Watts' actions may reflect a severe dissonance between his internal psychological state and his external behavior. This dissonance could indicate a profound identity crisis, where the pressures of his self-image, family expectations, and societal norms collided disastrously. Philosophically, the case poses profound ethical questions. Watts' actions challenge our understanding of morality and the capacity for evil within an individual. His ability to commit such acts and initially feign innocence raises questions about the nature of human consciousness and the moral compass. It provokes a contemplation of the age-old philosophical debate on nature versus nurture, whether Watts' actions were a product of innate characteristics or shaped by his environment and experiences. Sociologically, Watts' behavior can be viewed through the lens of societal and familial pressures. The facade of a perfect family life, often portrayed on social media, contrasted starkly with the underlying marital discord and financial stress. This disparity between reality and the public image could have contributed to a growing sense of entrapment and desperation. Societal norms dictating success, happiness, and familial responsibility might have exacerbated this pressure, leading to a catastrophic breakdown. The identifying of a precise psychological diagnosis for Chris Watts without a direct assessment by a mental health professional is inherently challenging. However, based on his documented behaviors and actions, we can speculate on certain personality disorders that might align with his profile. Antisocial personality disorder, ASPDE, emerges as a possibility, given Watts' deceitful behavior, lack of empathy, and extreme violence. This disorder is characterized by a pervasive disregard for the rights of others, often manifesting in manipulative and deceitful behavior. Additionally, traits of narcissistic personality disorder, as suggested by former FBI criminal profiler Candice DeLong, could be present. This includes a grandiose sense of self-importance and a lack of empathy, which might be reflected in Watts' actions and his handling of their aftermath. The term psychopathy, while contested by forensic psychologist Carrie Danes in Watts' case, traditionally associates with bold, disinhibited egotistical traits and an absence of remorse, which could be seen in his initial feigned concern and emotional detachment post-confession. From a philosophical standpoint, examining Watts' actions compels us to confront unsettling aspects of human nature and morality. While it is clear that Watts' actions are monstrous and unforgivable, this exploration forces us to acknowledge that within the human psyche lies the potential for both good and extreme evil. The case raises questions about the nature of human consciousness, the moral compass, and the dark factors that can drive an individual to commit such heinous acts. This contemplation does not evoke sympathy for the perpetrator, but rather emphasizes the importance of understanding these dark aspects to prevent future tragedies. In this light, the study of an individual's mind becomes crucial, especially when it diverges into the realms of extreme and disturbing behavior. This perspective also does not excuse Watts' monstrous deeds, but seeks to understand the broader implications of such actions in the study of human behavior and psychology. The phenomenon evident in the Chris Watts case transcends mere narcissism, exhibiting characteristics indicative of what is often termed familicide. This term refers to the catastrophic destruction of a family unit by one of its own members. In Watts' instance, the elements of control and admiration, typically associated with narcissistic behavior, might have contributed to a facade of normalcy. However, beneath this veneer lurked a more sinister pathology. In the realm of familicide, perpetrators are frequently driven by a convoluted logic where perceived personal shortcomings, overwhelming societal expectations, or the pursuit of an unattainable ideal lead to a drastic, irrevocable course of action. Watts' decision to obliterate his family unit likely stemmed from a complex interplay of psychological turmoil and external stressors. The financial strain, marital discord, and the allure of an alternate life with another partner might have been contributing factors in this catastrophic escalation. Such acts often signify a profound psychological rupture, where the inherent protective instincts of a family figure become grotesquely contorted. Watts' case presents a stark manifestation of this phenomenon. His actions represent a devastating collapse of moral and ethical boundaries, where the domestic sphere, typically associated with safety and nurturing, becomes a stage for a chilling denouement. Discussing Watts in the context of family annihilation invites a profound contemplation on the darker aspects of human psychology. It underscores the alarming potential within the human psyche for radical deviations from accepted moral norms. The extreme nature of his actions challenges our comprehension of the intricate dynamics of human behavior, pushing the boundaries of our understanding of familial relationships and moral transgressions. This exploration into the Watts case, therefore, is not merely an inquiry into a singular, tragic event. It is a broader examination of the potential for extreme and destructive behavior within the human condition, an uncomfortable acknowledgement of the latent capabilities that reside in the shadows of the human mind. In concluding our exploration of the Chris Watts case, we come face to face with a disturbing paradox of human nature, vividly illustrated by a letter Watts wrote from prison. This letter, addressed to his wife's family, is a striking embodiment of the duality within Watts, a stark contrast between the man who committed a heinous act of familicide and the one expressing remorse and seeking forgiveness. This letter serves as a chilling testament to the complex psychological makeup of Watts. It forces us to confront the unsettling reality of how a person can embody seemingly contradictory traits, the capacity for extreme brutality alongside expressions of love and regret. This dichotomy echoes the infamous duality of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, capturing the perplexing nature of human behavior. Reading this letter, we see Watts portraying himself as a remorseful individual, yearning for forgiveness and reconciliation. Yet, how does one reconcile these words with his monstrous actions? This juxtaposition raises profound questions about the authenticity of remorse, the possibility of redemption, and the depth of psychological dissonance. From a psychological perspective, this letter could be seen as an attempt at self-preservation, a way to cope with the gravity of his actions. Sociologically, it reflects the impact of his crimes on both families, hinting at a desperate need for closure or understanding. Philosophically, it challenges our notions of morality, questioning whether genuine remorse is possible after such unfathomable acts. In this letter, Watts' words paint a picture of a conflicted and tormented soul. Yet, they do little to mitigate the horror of his actions. They instead add another layer to the enigma of his character, a man who annihilated his family, yet later penned words of sorrow and regret. As I read this letter to you, let it resonate as a stark reminder of the complexities of the human psyche. It serves as a profound conclusion to our journey through the dark narrative of Chris Watts, a narrative that challenges our understanding of human nature in its most extreme and disturbing form. Chris Watts' letter. Dear Frank, Sandy, and Frankie, I'm sorry for the pain and utter anguish that I've caused your family. This is a travesty that I never thought could occur. Shanann, Belle, Celeste, and Nico are 4 beautiful souls that will live on forever in heaven and in our hearts. I know you must hate me for what I've done, and honestly, I would be surprised if you didn't. This is a moment in my life that I will never be able to undo, and it rips me apart every single day. I see their beautiful faces, their beautiful smiles everywhere I look. When I read to them at night, I can feel them snuggled up next to me like we were at home. I want you to know that I still consider you my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, and my brother-in-law, and that I love you all yesterday, today, and forever. I pray that one day you can have forgiveness for me, but most of all, I pray you can have compassion on my family. They are hurting so bad from all of this, and I know they would love to reconcile if that is something you would allow to happen. I pray every day that both families can meet at the gravesite, hold hands, pray, and talk about great times. Share about birthdays and visits and funny FaceTime conversations. I know this prayer hasn't been answered yet, but I know God is working this request of mine in your hearts. Forgiveness is the start of healing, and I pray you can start that process with my family. Love, Chris. This letter, laden with apologies and expressions of affection, stands in stark contradiction to his actions, showcasing the bewildering duality within Chris Watts, a duality that remains a perplexing enigma.
You don't want to say hi? Careful, Cece, there's a table there.
Daddy?
She is a hot mess. You have to take a leap of faith in yourself. No matter what it is in life, take that.
In the study of human behavior. In my upcoming presentations, I aim to investigate further into the Chris Watts case, unraveling its complexities. As we conclude for now, I invite you to ponder and share your thoughts in the intricate interplay of humanity and monstrosity within Chris Watts. Which do you believe is more dominant? How should we interpret these conflicting aspects of his identity? And what insights do they offer into the more obscure aspects of human nature? I encourage you to voice your opinions and join the conversation. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Deliberately Deadly, for more in-depth analyses and discussions on this and other cases. Your engagement and perspectives are invaluable.
However, I do want to spend a few minutes sharing with the court the details of the crime, as so far you've only had an opportunity to review the affidavit and a few facts here and there that have been offered to the court in the motions and pleadings that have been filed. The questions that have screamed out to anyone who will listen since August 13th of 2018 are why and how. Why did this have to happen? How could a seemingly normal husband and father annihilate his entire family? For what? These are the questions that only one individual in this courtroom or on this planet knows the answers to. I fully expect we will not receive the answers to these questions today, nor will we at any point in the future. I don't expect that he will ever tell the truth about what truly happened or why. Even if he did, there is no rational way that any human being could find those answers acceptable responses to such horrific questions. The best we can do is try to piece together some kind of understanding from the evidence that is available to us. And the evidence tells us this. The defendant coldly and deliberately ended 4 lives. Not in a fit of rage, not by way of accident, but in a calculated and sickening manner. Shanann was 34 years old.